All right, hello and welcome. Today we're basically gonna be detectives. We're on a mission to solve one of the biggest mysteries ever. What in the world is life? Seriously, we're gonna try and crack the secret code that makes everything, well, alive. So let's kick things off with a pretty simple question. It sounds almost silly, doesn't it? But really, stop and think about it for a second. What's the actual difference? You're this incredibly complicated, living, breathing thing. And that other thing, yeah, it's a rock. Figuring out that difference is honestly one of the coolest adventures you can go on in science. And the number one tool in our detective kit for this investigation? It's science. That's how we explore everything, right? All the world's wonders. And it's interesting, our source material actually mentions that for some of the greats, guys like Isaac Newton and Galileo, doing science was their way of trying to understand the blueprint of creation itself.
So, the source we're looking at defines the purpose of science pretty clearly. It's about 1. Carefully observing nature, 2. Figuring out the laws of creation, and 3. Using those laws for mankind's benefit. The text also points out that this idea connects with a command from the book of Genesis to subdue the earth and have dominion over it.
Okay, so before we start cracking codes, any good detective will tell you the first thing you do is survey the scene, right? You gotta know the lay of the land. So for us, that means getting to know the different experts in all the fields of life science, biology. Let's do a really quick tour. First on our list, we've got the zoologists. These are your animal experts. If it crawls, swims, flies, or runs, they study it. We're talking everything from the smallest little bug to a massive blue whale. They're the ones helping us map out the entire animal kingdom. And then you've got the botanists, the plant pros. And their work is super, super practical. They're the reason we can grow better food, and they're also the masterminds behind all those amazing flowers you see in gardens. Okay, now we're diving into a world you can't even see. Microbiologists. These guys investigate life that's so tiny you need a microscope just to know it's there. They've basically got the keys to a secret universe of bacteria and viruses that's all around us, like right now. And here's where it all starts to come together. Ecology. This is the study of the great web of life. Ecologists are the ones who figure out how all these different living things, the animals, the plants, even those tiny microbes, are connected to each other and to the world around them. It's the big picture. And last but not least, we turn the magnifying glass on ourselves with anatomy and physiology. The easiest way to think about it is this. Anatomy is the what. It's the parts list for your body, like your bones and muscles. Physiology is the how. It's the instruction manual that explains how all those parts actually work together to keep you going.
All right, detective, scene surveyed, experts identified. Now for the fun part. Let's analyze the clues. And here's the crazy thing. It turns out that no matter how different life looks, a whale versus a tiny little bacterium, every single living thing plays by the same secret set of rules. And that rule book, it's not a long one. Get this. There are exactly just five characteristics that every living thing shares. Think of them as the 5 secret keys that unlock the very definition of life. So, rule number 1, every living thing has an organized structure. The best way to picture it is like you're building a house, or maybe even a Lego masterpiece. The tiniest, most basic building block is the cell. That's your brick. You put a bunch of bricks together, you get a wall, that's tissue. Put the walls together to make rooms, those are your organs. And then the different rooms work together as a whole floor, that's an organ system. It's this amazing, super orderly design from the bottom up. Okay, rule number 2 is growth. But, and this is important, it happens in 2 totally different ways. If you're a tiny little single-celled organism, growth just means that one cell gets bigger. That's it. But for us, complicated, multicellular things, growth means something else entirely. It means making more cells. The number of cells actually increases. Rule number 3, response. This one is absolutely crucial. To stay alive, every living thing has to keep its internal conditions stable. There's a fancy word for it, homeostasis. But honestly, just think of it like the thermostat in your house. It's always working in the background to make sure everything inside you is, well, just right. Not too hot, not too cold, perfectly balanced. And you see this response happening literally everywhere you look. When you get hot, your body sweats to cool you down. That's a response. Plants will literally turn their leaves to face the sun. An Arctic fox's fur changes color with the seasons to stay hidden. And get this, even inside your own body, your white blood cells are actively hunting down germs. It's all about constantly responding and adapting to the world.
All right, on to rule number 4, and this one is about as fundamental as it gets: reproduction. It's pretty simple, really. This is the process where life continues by making more of itself. And our source material again notes a connection here, this time to a command in Genesis for living things to be fruitful and multiply. And the reason this is even possible is because of something called heredity. That's just the passing of characteristics from a parent to its offspring. You can think of it like a biological blueprint. It's the instruction manual that guarantees a cat is going to have kittens, not puppies, and an oak tree is going to make acorns, not oranges.
And that brings us to our 5th, our final, and honestly, our most complex rule, and it's a biggie: metabolism. This is basically the power plant, or the engine, inside every single living thing. It's the grand total of all the chemical reactions that take in fuel, like food, and convert it into pure energy to keep the whole show running.
So here's the basic breakdown of how this energy factory works. The input, that's the nutrients you get from food. The process, it's a whole bunch of chemical reactions, with the main one being cellular respiration. And the output, the really important part, it's a tiny molecule called ATP. Think of ATP as the battery pack for your cells. It's the energy that powers literally everything you do, from blinking your eyes to thinking a deep thought. So what's the single most important ingredient for this entire power plant to work? You might be surprised. It's water. Believe it or not, about 70% of your body is just water. It's the secret sauce that makes all those chemical reactions of metabolism even possible. And if you need proof of how important it is, just look at this. You can actually go for over a week without food. It's not fun, but you can do it. But without water, you've only got a few days. That's how absolutely critical water is to keeping that engine of life running. And there you have it. Case closed. The secret code of life is solved. Let's recap. For something to be considered alive, it has to have 5 things. 1, an organized structure. 2, it has to grow. 3, it has to respond to its environment. 4, it has to reproduce. And 5, it's got to have a metabolism. Those are the 5 rules. That's the secret. So that brings us to a final, pretty mind-bending thought. These 5 rules, they define every single living thing we have ever found here on Earth. But that just begs the question, right? What if there's life out there, somewhere else in the universe, that's playing by a totally different rulebook? What would that even look like? Now, that is a mystery for a whole new generation of detectives to solve. Thanks so much for joining the investigation.